Hello everyone! Guess who? It's me, Robin, and I'm so sorry I've been gone for so long from video making. I've been sick and anyway, just lots of stuff going on. But I have to make some thank you cards for my birthday gifts. We had a little fun birthday night a couple nights after my birthday since I was still so sick. And I wanted to make thank you cards for my friends who brought me some super sweet gifts. So I thought I would use Once Upon a Princess. I was looking through my Cricut collection. I'm going to use Once Upon a Princess, and I'm going to use the cupcake that's on page 50 in the handbook. Really simple cupcake. And because I'm using the cupcake, I wanted to use my Lunchbox Thoughts stamp set. This is by me, my pink stamper. And I'm going to use the saying that says, "You are the sprinkles on my cupcake," because I just thought that was so cute. Now, I designed this stamp set so you can make little, cards to slip in your children's lunch boxes or your husband's lunches or stick on your kid's pillow or, or for a friend or whatever. But I'm just showing you how versatile the stamp set is just because I'm going to make it, use it on cards for some friends. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Let's head on over to my Cricut. This is the color palette that I've decided to use. Now I'm going to incorporate green. Green is not going to be any part of my cupcake. My cupcake is going to be made with the top colors, the light pink, the dark or bright pink. I'm going to use turquoise for the frosting and black for the eyes. And the green, we're going to put it on a green and try to incorporate all the colors on there. Green is just my accent color. So when you're making a card, a lot of the times, this is how I used to be, I would take the main color from my image and I would use that as my accent color. You don't have to do that. You can use an accent color that coordinates. This is, as you can see, this all coordinates together and it looks really nice together on there, but you don't have to use a color that's out of your main image. Now what I might do is use a ribbon that's the same color as this color here, if I have it, or a coordinating ribbon, or I might use black, since on my cupcake I'm only using black for the little eyes that are kind of, closed and happy. I might just use, I might pull out the black from that and use it for the ribbon for the accent, because I do like to pull the ribbon out of my main image if I can. And now we're going to do this project old school. And I mean old school because I am going to use my regular Cricut expression, my pink one, which we used to call Pinky. I don't know if you remember that from my previous video. So we're going to pull out Pinky. And I know there's so many new Cricut machines. There's the Cricut Imagine, the Cricut Expression 2, and I have videos on all of those on my website. And there's also the Cricut Mini. And I love all of those machines, but the one I turn to the most still is my original Cricut. And I know a lot of you might have just received Cricuts for Christmas, and so I thought it'd be a good idea just to kind of review some of the basics. So let's go ahead and put this on our paper, and I'm going to cut down these to, I kind of guesstimate the size. This little cupcake here, I think I'm going to make this sweet thing about 3.5 inches. And what I'll do is just make sure I'm using about 3 1/4 by 3 1/4 for at least the big sizes. That one can be a little bit smaller. And then for my, the accents, the pink and the black, I can just use a smaller scrap on there, so I don't have to waste a lot of paper. Once you get to, using your Cricut a lot and working with the handbooks, you can kind of figure out the sizes if you're using your regular Cricut Expression. If you're using your Cricut Expression 2, your Imagine, or if you're using the Cricut Craft Room software with any of these machines, it will show you exactly the size that you need for your cardstock. But if you're doing it old school like we're doing it today, I'm showing you how I actually guesstimate. Okay, so let's get going. Let's now load the machine. I have my Once Upon a Princess in there. Now I'm using thicker cardstock, so my blade is set to 6 and my speed and pressure are both max. I've decided to do the cupcake at 4 inches instead of 3.5. So I'm using 4.5 by 4.5 cardstock for my first layer, and actually my second layer. So let's set this to 4 inches. If this is too big or too small, then I'll just grab another piece. Sometimes you might want to grab just a scrap piece of paper if you are using the original Cricut Expression or the Cricut, the ones that you can't tell what size you need. You might want to just use a scrap paper first to kind of get an idea. Now we're going to cut this image first, Now, this first image is going to be just the frosting on the top. So if you look at the different layers, you can kind of figure out what's going to be what by looking at the picture. Now, pretend that you're putting your Cricut handbook in this way, and that's the way you're going to want to load your paper. So let's find this cute little cupcake. Cuppy, where are you? I love cupcakes, you guys know that, right? Okay. So button 27. The newer handbooks do have a little overlay picture with a red dot so you can find your image easier. Let's go ahead and press it and cut. You can wait for it to show up in your screen over here, on your screen over here, or you can just cut it. Now that looks like it might be a little big. We don't want it to be wider than 4 1/4 because my card is going to be, actually, this is too big. I can already tell. So let's see how big. Okay, this will give me an idea of the new size that I need to make it, which is great. Actually, remember, we're learning together on my videos. Now that is kind of way too big. This was 4 inches, so I am going to go back and do 3 1/2 inches. All right, let's hit repeat last. Let's change our size to 3 1/2 and let's press cut. So you don't have to locate it again. I'm wondering if I should have grabbed a little bit bigger piece of cardstock. Okay, so anyway, we're going to move on. I might have to do that one again. Well, I think it's actually just perfect. It's fine. Let's move over to the pink. We're going to press Shift and press our cupcake again and press cut. Alright, let's get this piece cut. I'm holding this because it did stick up a little bit. I might need to either use a new mat or re-stick this one. And I will show you guys in a video. I have a video on how to stick your mat. I'm going to show you another video in a little bit. How to stick your mat. There's different ways to stick them, re-stick them. Okay, now for the last piece, I'm not sure how this is going to work. I'm using a little bit thinner piece of black, so I'm going to change my blade to 5. And since it's a little bit intricate, I'm going to put my speed down 1 to 4. It's on high. And now we're going to hit Shift, cupcake, and press it. This is going to do the little eyes. Now, I really don't like working with little tiny pieces, but this isn't a bad size. So let's put this together. Let's see if this is going to work out for us. My cupcake's kind of big, so, you know, maybe you should make it just a little bit, 1/4 inch smaller. I'm going to use it this size. Remember, I cut mine 3 1/2. So you could try 3 1/4 if this is too big for you. I have my green, remember my accent, so this is the only thing I'm using in this color. It's just an accent color. This is 4 inches by 5 1/4, and this is just a 1/16 of an inch wider on the side and a 1/16 on the top. And this is 5 1/2 by 4 1/4. Am I saying that right? I'm sorry, 5 1/2 by 8 1/2 when you fold it over. Let's fold it over now. I'm going to use my nice bone folder to get a nice tight crease. I'm still not 100%, guys. I'm so sorry. Okay, we're going to do something a little bit different here that I haven't done in a while. We're going to use my bone folder, and we're going to just kind of score one of the corner, or score the top right corner, and now we're going to fold that over like this. So fold that over, and now you can either use a paper piercer, which I have right here, or a little 1/16 hole punch. You should have something that you're punching into, so I hope I don't poke my finger here. That was okay. And I'm using a little mini brad. This is a pink mini brad. You can get mini brads almost anywhere you go. Any craft store online, any craft store, I think even Walmart has them. So just find a mini brad that coordinates, or you could use a button, or you could use, you know, this is just something different to make your card stand out a little bit. And you see when we pop it on the black, that corner just really pops out. Now we're going to use, I'm using my big ATG gun. And I am going to make sure your corner gets some adhesive. We're going to add this on to our black. And now we're not going to add on to the next color yet, because we're going to add some ribbon on here and stamp it. We're going to stamp using, remember I told you, lunchbox dots, and we're using You're the Sprinkles on my cupcake. Okay, I'm going to just put this on a clear acrylic block, so you only need a few acrylic blocks, and again, you can get the acrylic blocks almost anywhere. I don't have a favorite right now. And I'm using a black ink pad. Now my ink pad's a little bit dry and I know this. I just need to ink it up or get a new black pad. I'm going to add "You're the sprinkles on my cupcake" in the bottom right corner. You are the sprinkles on my cupcake. Isn't that just so cute? So you can give it to a family member, a friend, and that's going to go here. Now the ribbon that I've decided to use is, this is some Stampin' Up! Ribbon. And I love paper tray ink ribbon also as well. Okay. Put this on here. We're going to finish this up. This is turning out to be a pretty long video. Look at that. When you add that in and you pop, it's just going to make it pop out. So we can add that just right here. I'm not going to tie a bow or anything. It's just going to be pretty simple. It's just going to be a little bit of an accent behind it. And we'll go ahead and cut it. Use the cheater method. And use my new little, isn't that cute? I got this, I believe. Oh, I want to say Staples, but I think it might be quill.com. Q-U-I-L-L. I think that's where I actually got. I got two when I bought them because I was sick of my kids taking them. But guess what? This week I found I couldn't find either of my new shoe dispensers, and they were in my children's rooms. So if you have any suggestions, maybe I should put alarms on them. You know, lots of things end up missing. And plus I was so sick that, I couldn't really watch over my craft room very much. I was just happy that my kids were fed. Alright, we are going to finish this up. Add some pop dots on here. And this is our finished card, and it's just so cute. It's still simple, but we just added a little, a little corner or something on the corner to make it a little bit different. And of course I did a cupcake. I've been missing cupcakes. I've made cupcakes. I made them a few days ago. We made them, there were some girls in my church that had birthdays, and so we wanted to make them some cupcakes. They weren't my best cupcakes, I'll be honest with you. I guess, not making them for so long, I kind of got out of the habit. But we just love cupcakes around here. So this is really a cute card, and I hope you enjoy it. And also, if you want to visit me on Pinterest, I'm Pink Stamper on Pinterest, and I'll have this posted there as well. I hope you have a fabulous day, guys. It's so good to be back doing videos. I'll talk to you later. Bye.